Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ba'd. Alright, so welcome back to our Quran study class. We've been off for about 2 months, and it is important that we do a little bit of recap in the story. And we're gonna resume from section 8. So I know we did part of section 8, but we're going to go back and we're going to do it again. And I retranslated it differently actually. So we'll begin with section 8. So remember, we're talking about the story of Prophet Yusuf. The first part of the story of Prophet Yusuf is that he is in his hometown of, does anyone remember what his hometown city is called besides Jabir? Yes. Huh? Madian? No. Yusuf was not in Madian. That was where Prophet Musa went, and that's where another prophet was. Yes, Isa. He moved to Egypt, but before he moved to Egypt, where did he begin? He was from a village called Canaan. Very good. All right, so he was in the land of Canaan, and Yusuf had, Yaqub had how many sons? Who can tell me? Yes. 11 sons. Okay. Anyone else? He had 12 sons, because we're counting Yusuf too. So Yusuf had 11 brothers. That's where the trick comes. How many brothers did Yusuf have? 11. How many sons did Yaqub have? 12, because we count Yusuf, right? Common mistake. All right, so he had 12 brothers. He had 12 sons. Yusuf had 11 brothers. One of them was Binyamin, and he had 10 from a different mother. And we saw some jealousy erupt between them. Yusuf got thrown into a well. From the well, he was picked up, he was transported and sold as a slave and made his way all the way to Egypt. Once he's in Egypt, what happens? He gets tempted by the Egyptian minister's wife, and he doesn't want to do anything haram. So eventually she frames him and she gets him thrown into prison. Once Yusuf is in prison, he starts making da'wah, he starts calling some people to Islam. He helps the 2 prisoners who had dreams. And he eventually finally gets out of prison, and he ends up working for the king in the palace. Once he's in the palace, he asks for a position to be in charge of the storehouses of grain in the land of Egypt, because there's going to be a massive famine, and somebody needs to take care of all of this once the famine hits, because otherwise nobody's going to have food for them. So this is where we left off, and we're at verse 58. وَجَاءَ إِخْوَةُ يُوسُفَ فَدَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ. Yusuf's brothers, there's 10 brothers, they arrived in Egypt and they came in front of him. Now why did they arrive in Egypt? Because they wanted to buy food. And the famine had affected their city too. So if you think about it, Egypt is the one that's hit by the famine. But what is Egypt? Egypt is the major city. Ancient Egypt was the major city that's probably supplying all the other little villages and towns around. So just like any time something happens to a major city or a major country, it's going to have a ripple effect. It's going to affect everybody. Like for example, the United States recently, there's Trump tariffs that went into effect, all of a sudden affected the economy of many other countries, not just of America. In 2009, there was a financial meltdown in America, and it rippled and affected the economies of most of the world, because America is tied to so many other economies. Ancient Egypt was like that. Ancient Egypt is such a major, important city that if there's a famine there, even if the famine, maybe, we don't know, maybe the famine hit the city of Canaan too, maybe it didn't, but there's so many supplies going in and out from Egypt that it's going to affect the cities around them. So now, the family of Yaqub needs to come to Egypt and try to buy some grain, because they're the only ones who have grain, and the famine is hitting them and affecting them. So they come. فَعَرَفَهُمْ وَهُمْ لَهُ مُنْكِرُونَ. He knew them, but they did not recognize him. So Yusuf immediately could tell who his brothers were. How many years has it been since he's seen his brothers? How many years? 3, 2, 20, several years. We don't know the exact number, but it's been quite a while. So now, they must have changed. They probably don't look the same. And Yusuf must have changed too. But why is it easier for Yusuf to recognize his brothers, but his brothers not to recognize Yusuf? So it says, Yusuf recognized them, they did not recognize him. There are three main reasons why Yusuf can recognize them, but it's harder for them to recognize him. Who can tell me one? I want you to just use your mind a little bit. Same. Because there's, well, technically 10, because they left Benjamin at home. Yeah, so there's 10 brothers. So it's like a whole group. You can kind of see, oh, this group, they look like foreigners, they look different, and there's a whole group of them where he's just one person. So that's reason number one. What's reason number two? Yes. Yeah. Gotta speak up. What do you say?
He said they were older and he was young.
They were older and he was younger. Maybe you age differently when you get older, perhaps. But no, I don't think that's one of the main reasons. But good guess. Another one. Yeah.
After a certain age, the physical appearance doesn't change.
Oh, you're talking about aging again. After a certain age, you just look stable. I'm sure a lot of people in the middle age, they hope for that. They're making dua, that's true. You know? Maybe this is another answer, yeah. Yeah.
So they expect him to be there, right? So basically the location, if I see you somewhere else.
Exactly, you're right. They did not expect him to be there. So he expected that they might probably be coming, because everyone's coming. But they never expected him to be in that position, right? So this is reason number two. And what's reason number three? Say it.
This from the halaqah, because he was wearing the minister.
Correct. He was wearing Egyptian minister clothing. So, like, you know, if you've ever seen a picture of how Egyptian, you know, like King Tut and all of those, they wear, like, it covers up most, you can only basically see part of your face. Everything else is pretty much covered. So it's pretty hard to recognize. Even if one of you put that Egyptian minister stuff on, even your parents may not even recognize you. It's hard. So that's why all of it played a role. So these are some of the reasons why he recognized them easily. They did not recognize him. Next verse. Allah says, وَلَمَّا جَهَّزَهُمْ بِجَهَازِهِمْ قَالَ ائْتُونِي بِأَخٍ لَكُمْ مِنْ أَبِيكُمْ. When he provided them with their supplies, this was their food supplies, he said, bring me your paternal brother. Meaning, bring me your other brother. Now, how did Yusuf know that they had another brother? See, remember the Quran just gives you part of the conversation. You have to read in the rest of the conversation. So imagine Yusuf is a minister in Egypt. He's distributing food. And these 10 people come and they say, we need food. He's not just going to walk in there. Yusuf has security guards. He has servants working for him and everything. And there's a process. You have to wait in line. And when you come in, what do you think the minister is going to do? He's going to ask you a bunch of questions. He can almost interrogate you and say, hey, where are you guys from? How many people? How much food do you need? Why didn't your parents come? Oh, your mom and dad are old? Oh, your mom and dad couldn't travel? Oh, you have another brother too? And you want food for the other brother too? Well, yeah, we can't do that. Why didn't your other brother come? And what was the reason why the other brother didn't come? Who didn't come, by the way? Just quickly. Just say it out loud. Who didn't come? Benjamin didn't come. Why didn't he come? Who can tell me why Benjamin didn't come? Yes. Benjamin was taking care of his father. Kind of, but maybe the other way around. His father was trying to protect Benjamin because he was scared that something might happen to him, like the way that happened to Yusuf. So maybe he was serving him too and all that stuff. It could be, right? So yeah, so he wasn't able to make it. So he asked them all these questions, and because that you can read into that conversation, he said, I want you to bring me your other brother. Why does he want the other brother? We're going to see. One reason is, so far, bring me your other brother, and you know what? I'm going to be able to give you his share of food too. Right now, you're going to get how many shares of food? We don't know for sure, but we can assume how many shares of food do you think Yusuf is going to give for how many people? What do you think? 10. So the parents are going to starve. They get no food. You're right, 10 for the brothers. Plus? So the question is, he can either be giving 12 or 13. But now it seems like he's saying, you know what, next time bring me your other brother, I'm going to give you his share. But right now, you're not going to get his share. You guys are going to have to split with him. Because I don't know for sure if your brother's really there or not. So he's probably giving 12. And then what does he say? أَلَا تَرَوْنَ أَنِّي أُوفِي الْكَيْلَ وَأَنَا خَيْرُ الْمُنزِلِينَ. Don't you see that I give full measure? Meaning I give full measure of food for each person. So every person that comes, I give you an entire load for everyone. And I'm an excellent host. So he treated them nicely. He didn't like make them wait in a long line. He probably let them sit in like a nice area, gave them some food while they're waiting and everything. So he welcomed them so nicely. So he's like, look, I'm a good host. I welcomed you so nicely. Make sure you bring your brother. When he comes, I'm going to welcome him nicely the same way that I welcomed you. So what is he doing? He's enticing them. Hey, good reason for bringing him back. So they feel comfortable. فَإِن لَمْ تَأْتُونِي بِهِ فَلَا كَيْلَ لَكُمْ عِنْدِي وَلَا تَقْرَبُونَ. And then he threatens them. If you do not bring him to me next time, I will not measure for you. I will not give you any measure of food. And you shouldn't even come near me. Don't even come. Because it means that you were lying to me and you were trying to trick me and you don't really have a brother and you just wanted to get some extra food. Now you can imagine, in Egypt, people are doing exactly this. There's a famine. And what happens when there's a famine? People start panicking and they become very selfish. They're like, I want my share. You know, there's like these shows that come out. I don't even want to quote the names of the shows. I'm not a big fan of them. But there's these zombie apocalypse shows that keep coming out. And what happens? Whenever there's like a zombie apocalypse and these people start having emergency situations, grid down disasters and everything, it shows that people become so selfish. They start stealing from their neighbors. They start killing other people. They're willing to do anything because when in a state of emergency, people become very selfish, sadly. It was interesting. I was listening to a podcast where somebody talked about if there was a grid down disaster that ever happened, what are the 3 things that you would need to have to survive? Right. No, I know. Jabir was there. He told you in the halaqah. So what were the 3 things that you need? So grid down disaster means all the electricity grid is gone. All electricity is shut down. Everything shuts down pretty much. So you can't get gas. There's long lines at the gas station. There's no electricity. What would you want to have to survive? What are the top 3 things that you would want to have? And I thought, obviously, you need like a barrel of water so you can survive. And you need a whole food storage, right? But what would you think? Yes, what do you think? You want candles so you can see absolute candle, and you need a lighter then. Okay, so you would want a lighter. You only get 3 things. If you could only have 3 things, what are the top 3 things you would have? So you say candle, lighter, food and water. That's what I thought too. Food and water, that's 2. And then something I would do like a 3rd thing. Anyone else? Yes. What kind of protection? Oh, like a knife or something. Okay, good. And what else? Okay, one more. Isa. A what? A prayer mat. MashaAllah, man. It's always thinking of the spiritual. Alhamdulillah, man. We gotta pray. Absolutely. Alhamdulillah, MashaAllah. That's very true. We gotta be praying. So he said you should have 3 things. And I was surprised. I couldn't imagine. Number 1, you need to have a gun. Number 2, he says, why do you need a gun? He says, because all the food and the water that you stored up, your next door neighbor, one of your next door neighbors is going to come who didn't have enough food stored up and say, my family is hungry. And they're going to come with the gun. And they're going to simply take all your food. And that's it. He said, this is what can happen in a grid down disaster. So number 1, you need a gun. I said, whoa, that just like shocked me. Number 2, you need a night scope because 1/3 of Americans have guns. So now you go at nighttime and you're going to be able to see when they're not able to see. So that's number 2. And I was like shocked. I'm like, what is number 3, man? Like a rocket launcher or something? Like, I don't know. You know? Number 3, he said, is an emergency radio so that you can actually get access to the government or somebody who's organizing, maybe army or something, they will be able to contact you that there's a site that you can go where people are gathering to reestablish order in an emergency like that. Very surprising. All right, anyways, back to the topic. So he's saying, you know what? You're just lying. You want to just get extra food because many people were probably lying. So Yusuf has to be careful. He obviously knows there's another brother, right? Because it's his own brother. But he's going and asking these questions and he's making it seem like he's filtering out. You know what? I'm going to ask questions and nobody gets to trick the minister of Egypt. We know how to interrogate you and we know how to find out who needs the food and who doesn't really need the food. So, قالوا سنراود عنه أباه وإنا لفاعلون. They said, very confidently they said, we will convince his father to let him come. He said, we'll definitely be able to do it. Like, don't worry, we're going to handle this. Now they're so confident, surprisingly, because should they be confident? No. They lost the previous brother. He just disappeared. Shouldn't be confident that much. But there's something known as the, I was just reading it, I forgot what it was called, like the Duns-Kruger effect. It's where people have a very limited level of competence, but they overestimate their own abilities. And they say, you know what, I know I can handle this, and you're actually not that qualified to even do something like this. So they were confident and they said, we're going to be able to do it. We can handle it, don't worry about it. You don't have to worry, we'll be back. وَقَالَ لِفِتْيَانِهِ جَعَلُوا بِضَاعَتَهُمْ فِي رِحَالِهِمْ. So he, meaning Yusuf, he told his servants that worked for him, he said, put their money back into their bags. So they didn't actually bring money, they didn't just have like stuff. So bida'a in this context is stuff that you use to trade. So they brought stuff from their land to trade. And in the past, sometimes people would use money, sometimes they would use objects and they would barter with the stuff that they have. لعلهم يعرفونها إذا انقلبوا إلى أهلهم لعلهم يرجعون. They're going to find it when they return to their family so that they might come back. So now Yusuf gave them another incentive. So he gave them, number one, incentive. I'll treat them really nice the way that I treated you. Great hospitality, 5-star service. And then number two, he gave him a threat. And the threat was, you better bring him back, otherwise you're lying. And then you don't get any more food, even if you're hungry. And then, number three, give them another incentive, but not to find out right now. The other incentive, they're going to find out when they get back that all their money is there. And if all their money is there, they don't have an excuse to say, oh, we don't have any money, now we can't go buy food, it's too expensive. So now he gave them another incentive, so that they can always come back and get some more food later on. فَلَمَّا رَجَعُوا إِلَىٰ أَبِيهِمْ قَالُوا يَا أَبَانَا مُنِعَ مِنَّا الْكَيْلِ. When they returned to their father, they said, Father, we have been denied supplies. Meaning, we've been denied getting more food the next time we go. This is emergency situation. We need to figure out a way to get more food somehow. And this is obviously, this is their over dramatizing the issue, because they're trying to convince their dad to send him next time, and they might be in danger in the future, but they're trying to exaggerate a little bit to make it seem like it's even more of an emergency. Very similar to the last time. The last time they overdid it. They came with tears in their eyes and they're like, we lost Yusuf, he got eaten by a wolf, and the whole thing was fake. This one, they've learned, they're trying to make it a little bit more believable. But they're still saying, you know what, we've been denied, this is emergency, we got to do something. So they had a long conversation. فَأَرْسِلْ مَعَنَا أَخَانَا نَكْتَلْ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. Send our brother with us so that we get our measure. So we can get our measure of food. And don't worry, we will definitely protect him. Right? So they're promising, now we're going to take care of him. Don't worry, we know your fear. قال هل آمنكم عليه إلا كما أمنتكم على أخيه من قبل. He said, should I trust you with him the way I trusted you with his brother Yusuf? He's like, you think I've forgotten what happened to Yusuf? I've not forgotten. فَاللَّهُ خَيْرٌ حَافِظًا. Allah is the best protector. Right? So basically what they're saying is, okay, I'm going to trust Allah. Don't think I'm trusting you. I have no choice but to send him because we're going to need food again. But don't think I'm a fool and I'm just going to be sending him to you. I'm stuck in a situation. Now, sometimes you can think, why would Yaqub do this? He really doesn't have much of a choice. His hands are tied. He's in a situation where he's basically been pushed into a corner. And he has no choice now but to send Benjamin. Why? Because maybe he could question and say, I think you guys are making this up. I think this is a lie. I think this is all fake. This is probably not all fake, because we're going to see later on in the story something similar. When they traveled all the way to Egypt, see, the last time when they took Yusuf, did they travel all the way to Egypt? No, they traveled locally. And when you travel locally, it's just you as a group. You don't need other people around. When you travel from Canaan all the way to Egypt, you never travel alone. It's very dangerous. So how do you travel?
Caravan.
With the caravan. You travel with a group of people in a caravan. There are security guards in the caravan. There's lots of other people for protection. So when they came back, the caravan stopped at different locations. People in the caravan, he could have asked and he could have verified with the people of the caravan, this is exactly what happened to these people. Now they have witnesses. So he goes, now I know that this is true. This is what's going on. وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. He is the most merciful of all. Meaning Allah is the most merciful of the merciful. Meaning if you want to trust in somebody, you should put your trust in Allah. And he said, that's what I'm going to do, instead of trusting in other people. وَلَمَّا فَتَحُوا مَتَاعَهُمْ وَجَدُوا بِضَاعَتَهُمْ رُدَّتْ إِلَيْهِمْ. When they opened their bags, they saw that their money had been returned to them. Meaning their stuff had been returned to them. Exactly what Yusuf's plan was. Which means he put it back right when they were leaving, so that they would only recognize it when they returned. So it's kind of like a shock effect, a surprise effect. They're already having the conversation with their father before they unpack the bags. And imagine the father is doubting. He's like, I don't know if this is a good idea. I'm not sure about this. And then all of a sudden, afterwards, they open their suitcases and they're like, look, another sign that we should send him. So like it's a sign after a sign coming to convince their father. And this was all Yusuf's master plan. قَالُوا يَا أَبَانَا مَا نَبْغِي. They said, Father, what more can we want? هَذِهِ بِضَاعَتُنَا رُدَّتْ إِلَيْنَا. This is our money. Return back to us. وَنَمِيرُ أَهْلَنَا وَنَحْفَظُ أَخَانَا وَنَزْدَادُ كَيْلَ بَعِيرٍ. We can get food for our family. We will protect our brother and we'll get an extra load of grain. ذَلِكَ كَيْلٌ يَسِيرٌ. That load that we just brought is not going to last long. And there's two interpretations of this. Yasir means it's going to be easy to get the extra load, but the second interpretation means it's a small load. Because Yasir has two meanings. Yasir means something that's easy, right? Or something that's light. So it could mean that it's easy to get that extra load of food, or it could also mean that the load that we just got is actually a very light load. It's not going to last us very long. We're going to need more food afterwards pretty soon. قال لن أرسله معكم حتى تؤتوني موثقا من الله لتأتونني به إلا أن يحاط بكم. So he said, Yaqub said, I will never send him with you unless you give me a promise to Allah, like a covenant with Allah, that you will definitely bring him back to me. Unless you're like completely overpowered. Like if I have evidence that you're completely overpowered, then there's nothing that I can do. فَلَمَّا آتَوْهُ مَوْثِقَهُمْ قَالَ اللَّهُ عَلَى مَا نَقُولُ وَكِيلٌ. Then after they had given him their promises, he probably took a promise from every single one of them. You swear by Allah that you're going to bring him back. I swear by Allah. You swear by Allah that he went through everyone, because what happened last time, he wants to be super careful. And then after every single one of them swore, and they all gave them a promise to Allah, then he says, Allah is a witness to what we've just said. When we use Allah as a witness, it's because people lie. This is the sad reality. People lie. Everybody lies a little bit. Some people tell small lies. Some people lie only when they're really in a bad situation. Some people lie all the time. Some people tell small lies regularly. Some people tell big lies regularly and it doesn't affect them. They just lie, and then when they get caught, they just tell another lie to cover it up. And then they get caught again and they just tell another lie on top of that to cover it up. So the reason why you mention Allah, because if the person has any fear of Allah, has any awareness of Allah, that Allah is watching, sometimes you're just like, yeah, you just tell a lie. But then when you say, Allah, you're promising to Allah that you're going to tell the truth, you're not going to lie. You should feel a little bit something there. So he puts Allah in there as the promise. Then after they did that, again he says, now Allah is a witness again to what we've said. Because he's emphasizing, when someone tells you that Allah is watching you, reminds you that this is between you and Allah, it's not between you and me. See, when you don't like someone, or you don't care for someone, or you hate someone, it's easier to lie to them. They don't like you anyway, so I'm just going to lie. But now when it's not about me versus you anymore, this is about you and Allah. Now the focus has changed. If you're lying to Allah. Now it's totally different. The person can refocus their mind and start thinking, hey, what am I really upset about? Like, who am I really going to be affecting? So they take it way more seriously. And that's why in court, even in court in America, they tell you, do you swear, to tell the truth by God? They mentioned God. Did you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God, or something like that? Why do they mention that? Because the many people who believe in God, most people believe in God in America, because it has some effect on them. And for a Muslim, it should have a major effect, right? So this is why he keeps on mentioning Allah, because you should take it very seriously. Now it's between you and it's between Allah. It's not just between you and the other person that you're not bothered about lying to. وَقَالَ يَا بَنِيَّ لَا تَدْخُلُوا مِنْ بَابٍ وَاحِدٍ وَادْخُلُوا مِنْ أَبْوَابٍ مُتَفَرِّقَةٍ. He said, my sons, do not enter the city. Egypt is a city, has lots of gates. Do not enter from one gate altogether in one time. Enter through separate gates. Meaning enter in groups so that you don't get hurt somehow, you don't get harmed. How can you get harmed? He had something in his mind. Either people could envy them, be jealous of them, say, oh, there's so many brothers. Or they could think they're spies. Or somehow there was some plan in his mind that he says, you know what? If people see you as a whole group of 10 young, strong men coming in there, somehow there could be potential for harm. If you split up, it's going to be safer. He didn't explain it to them. And sometimes, this is an important thing for children, an important thing for parents, is that sometimes your parents understand something, they have some wisdom, and they say, don't do this. But I want to know why. Maybe they won't explain to you why, but they have some wisdom behind why. Sometimes they'll explain to you. Sometimes they're not going to go through it because maybe you won't understand. But this is exactly the same situation that's happening with Yaqub. So he's telling them the same thing. Be careful, you don't want to be harmed. So make sure you enter through different doors. وَمَا أُغْنِي عَنْكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ مِن شَيْءٍ. I cannot help you against Allah in any way. So if Allah has planned to test you with being harmed by somebody who sees you, even if you split up, even if you secretly go and cover your faces and everything, no one can protect you. I cannot protect you. My advice cannot protect you. It doesn't matter how many precautions you take. If Allah decides to test you with something, you can take all the precautions you want. You can wear a face mask. You can put yourself in a little bubble, and you can still get sick. It doesn't matter what precautions you take. You should take precautions. But Allah is the one who makes the final decision. إِنِ الْحُكْمُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ. Only Allah decides what's going to happen. عَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلْتُ. I put my trust in Him. وَعَلَيْهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُتَوَكِّلُونَ. Whoever wants to trust someone should trust Him. Rather than putting their trust in people. People are powerless. They can't do much. They can take precautions, but they don't have actual power. The only one that has full power and authority of what happens is Allah. And He's reminding them, He's teaching them this important lesson. وَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا مِنْ حَيْثُ أَمَرَهُمْ أَبُوهُمْ مَا كَانَ يُغْنِي عَنْهُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ إِلَّا حَاجَةً فِي نَفْسِ يَعْقُوبَ قَضَاهَا. When they entered the way their father had told them, so they listened to him. And they followed his advice even though he didn't explain to them why. They did exactly what he said, but it did not really help them against the plan of Allah in any way. So why is Allah mentioning this? Allah is mentioning the exact same thing that Yaqub mentioned. He said, follow this advice to be safe. But remember, no precautions can ever help you if Allah decides otherwise. That's what He's saying. So Allah is saying, they did exactly what their father had advised, but no precautions are going to help anyways. It was just a desire that Yaqub's heart had, which he fulfilled. He wanted to be cautious. So we should take precautions. There's nothing wrong with taking precautions. Allah did not criticize him for taking precautions. But he wanted to remind people that no matter how many precautions you take, Allah is in control. وَإِنَّهُ لَذُو عِلْمٍ لِمَا عَلَّمْنَاهُ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. He was knowledgeable. Who's he referring to? Somebody who's paying attention. Yes. Yaqub, very good. He was knowledgeable because we had taught him. See, Allah again puts the emphasis on Yaqub. Why isn't Yaqub knowledgeable? It's not, it's my personal accomplishment. I've achieved this. Achievements, Allah wants you to go and attribute the achievements back to Allah because He's in control. He said, we taught him. What did Allah teach him? That Allah is in full control of what happens. That's how He came up with this statement. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. But most people don't understand. What don't they understand? They understand so many things in life. What people don't understand is that they end up putting their trust in the causes, in these human cause and effect. Like if I do this and I wear this mask and if I do that, nothing can happen to me. They put their trust in those means that Allah uses, but Allah is actually in full control. And people forget that. They don't understand properly. So we'll leave it at that. Inshallah, there is no Kahoot today because see, what happens is there's some volunteers who, mashallah, do good work. And we only begin to value those volunteers when they're gone. We value them more because we miss out on the effort and the work that they are doing. So inshallah, and the time for Isha is near as well. So we'll conclude and we'll see you next week inshallah. We'll continue the surah and we'll be continuing every week until we finish Surah Yusuf inshallah. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.